Hello and good night. Welcome to another bedtime story. This story is meant to help you sleep or to relax your mind. Try and find a comfortable place, such as your bed or a soft chair. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes now. Try and let go of the day as we begin our tale. Tonight's story is Little Claus and Big Claus. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived two men who were both named Claus. However, they were very different in nature and fortune. To tell them apart, the villagers called one man Big Claus, for he owned 4 strong horses and was wealthy, and the other Little Claus, for he had only 1 horse and was very poor. However, though Little Claus was poor, he was also clever and resourceful. Every week, Little Claus would loan his single horse to Big Claus to help plow his fields, in exchange for using Big Claus's 4 horses on Sundays. Whenever Little Claus rode all 5 horses through town, he would yell, "Giddy up, my 5 horses!" which greatly irritated Big Claus, because he did not want anyone to think that Little Claus owned all 5 horses. He warned Little Claus that he would punish him for his lies, but Little Claus ignored him. One Sunday, as Little Claus guided all 5 horses across the field, he exclaimed yet again, "Giddy up, my 5 horses!" Big Claus, passing by, overheard this and turned red with fury. "Your horses? They are my horses. You own just 1, and if you keep saying this, I'll make you regret it." But Little Claus only laughed. "Ah, but for today, they feel like mine." This answer did not sit well with Big Claus. The next Sunday, when he heard Little Claus boasting again about his 5 horses, he growled at Little Claus. "I'll teach you a lesson." Then Big Claus ran towards Little Claus's home, seized a large club, and, in his rage, Big Claus struck Little Claus's horse on the head, ending it. "There, now you have none at all," Big Claus said angrily. Little Claus was heartbroken, but he did not let his sadness show. Instead, he decided to skin the horse, dry its hide, and take it to the nearby town to sell. Because he no longer had a horse to ride on, the journey to town was very long. As night fell, Little Claus sought shelter. He spotted a grand farmhouse and knocked on the door. The farmer's wife opened. "Good evening, madam. Could I please stay here for the night? I got lost on my way to town, and I have no place to stay." "No," said the farmer's wife. No, that won't be possible. My husband's not home, so I cannot let strangers into my house." "Okay," said Little Claus. "I guess I will have to sleep somewhere outside then." And he went searching for a place. He noticed a little shed next to the house. "I guess I could sleep in this shed," Little Claus thought to himself. "Yes, I will spend the night here." From a gap in the shed's wall, Little Claus could see inside the farmer's house. Inside the house, he watched as the farmer's wife sat at the kitchen table with the town's baker. The kitchen table was laden with roasted meat, delicious-looking fish, and plenty of wine. "That looks delicious," sighed Little Claus. "I wish I could have some of that food." He continued, watching the farmer's wife, serving the baker wine, who was greatly indulging the fish, for it was his favorite, until he heard the horse and carriage of the farmer coming up the road. Now the farmer was a pleasant man, except for the fact that he absolutely hated the baker. He always got enraged whenever he saw him, for they had had an argument long ago, and this is why the baker had only come by because he knew that the farmer wasn't home. When the farmer's wife heard her husband approaching, she jumped up and said, "Quick, go out the back door, because my husband is almost home." And the baker did this because he knew of the farmer's reputation. The farmer's wife quickly hid all the delicious food and wine in the oven. "Oh no," said Little Claus out loud. "Now all of that scrumptious food is disappearing without being eaten." He sighed. The farmer heard the noises coming from inside his shed and said, "Hello? Who is there?" He looked inside and was shocked to find Little Claus. "Well, why are you lying here on the floor?" "I'm sorry," said Little Claus. "I got lost and I needed a place to stay for the night." "Well, don't be silly," said the farmer. "You're welcome to stay in my house for the night, and my wife will make us some dinner." "Thank you very much," said Little Claus. The two men went inside to the kitchen, where the wife greeted them warmly. However, when she served them their dinner, Little Claus was astonished to see that she only gave them a bowl of porridge each. Because Little Claus knew of all the delicious food that was hidden in the oven, he had no intention of eating the porridge. And because he was a clever little man, he quickly devised a plan. The bag with the horsehide was lying under the table near his feet, and he decided to give it a little kick, so the bag creaked. And then he kicked it again, harder, so the bag creaked even louder. "What's that noise?" asked the farmer. "What?" said Little Claus. "Oh, you mean this noise?" And he pointed towards the underside of the table where the bag lay. "That is my wizard, and the wizard is telling me that we don't need to eat the porridge, because he just conjured some delicious food for us in the oven." "You must be kidding," said the farmer. And he got up, walked towards the oven, and opened it. Inside, he saw all the food his wife had hidden, but she didn't dare to tell him the truth. So the farmer said happily, "What a feast! Come, my friend, and help me put it all on the table." And Little Claus gladly did so. When they finished eating, the farmer said, "You must sell this wizard to me. I'll pay any price you ask for it." "Oh no," said Little Claus. "No, I can't do that. The wizard is too precious." "I'll give you all the gold I have," said the farmer, and he got up, left the room, and came back with a big bag full of gold coins. Little Claus could barely contain his excitement. He pretended to think it over, then said, "Very well. Normally, I would never have parted with my wizard, but because you have been so kind as to let me in and give me food, I'll let you buy my wizard." And so, Little Claus took the money, and, when everyone went to bed, he snuck out of the house and continued his way back home. When he returned home, he ran into Big Claus. Envious at the sight of Little Claus's large bag of gold, Big Claus demanded to know how he had come upon such wealth. Little Claus slyly told him that he had sold his horse's hide for the bag of gold. Greedy and eager for riches, Big Claus rushed home, skinned his own 4 horses, and intended on selling them in town for a bag of gold each. Of course, no one would buy them. The villagers only laughed at him for asking such a ridiculous price, and, after waiting a whole day without a single sale, Big Claus went back home, furious and humiliated, He ran to Little Claus's house and growled, "You tricked me! For that I shall end you!" And he stuffed Little Claus into a sack, planning to drown him into the river. On the way, Big Claus stopped at an inn, and he left the sack outside while he went in to take a rest. Just then, an old cattle driver passed by. Hearing Little Claus moaning inside the sack, the old man asked what was happening. Thinking fast, Little Claus claimed he was inside the sack as a punishment for refusing to become mayor. The cattle driver, eager for such an opportunity, gladly switched places with him. As soon as Big Claus came out of the inn, he picked up the sack and threw it in the river, believing he had drowned Little Claus. But Little Claus, now free, returned home. When Big Claus saw him alive, he was astonished. Little Claus spun yet another tale, saying that after he had been thrown into the river, he had found a magical underwater kingdom filled with cattle. He claimed to have returned with these fine animals and showed the ones belonging to the cattle driver as proof. Eager to claim the same fortune, Big Claus rushed to the river and threw himself in, expecting to find the magical kingdom. Instead, he drowned, ending his greedy and cruel ways. Thus, Little Claus returned home, and with his gold, he bought 5 new horses. And every day, he rode into town, exclaiming, "Giddy up, my 5 horses!" And he lived happily ever after. The end. Thank you for listening to this bedtime story. I hope you enjoyed the tale tonight. If you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more audiobooks and tales to come. Until next time.